Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Arden's Chats. So, this is the video cast podcast, whatever you want to call it, where I get to talk to really cool people of doing amazing things out in the world. All of them, in some way, shape, or form, impact your business. So, today we are talking to my friend Jen Gitomer, who is the big sales energy guru. She is doing all really cool things. I've known Jen for years and just seeing how she just continues to grow with the market. I love it. So Jen, will you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Jen. Arden, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you.
Let us know that you're watching, whether it's now or live or on the replay. I'm Jen and I love sales and I love helping entrepreneurs make more sales. I've been making sales since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I know it sounds a little crazy. And I wrote a book on selling, Sales in a New York Minute. And it's 212 pages of real world, easy to implement strategies. And I just love helping entrepreneurs grow their business and make more money, because I feel like so many of us got into this to offer our skill or expertise, but then the hard part, so to speak, becomes how do I now monetize that skill or expertise, or how do I sell it?
Yeah. And so let's start with there. So we were talking before in the green room, if you will, about the biggest conversation I had just recently I was speaking to a group of women about PR, about baseline PR. So how do I build my story? What's my target audience? What are my communication objectives? And what's the problem that I solve? And as I was getting the intake, because I'm like you, whenever I speak, I like to know who's in the room. And several of them led with, I'm a such and such, but I don't do sales. So here's how I get business. And I called them on it during my presentation because, again, I'm a publicist. So what do I know about sales? But that's totally not true. I teach you to gain raving fans to grow your sales. And so I looked at her and I went, let me ask you something. Why did you say you don't sell? Is it because it feels icky or because you just don't get business? And she went, saying I make sales sounds icky. Why is that the case, Jen? And it's generally women, why do women feel like it's icky to be a salesperson?
Yeah, it's so interesting. There are people out there who sell and unfortunately sell in a sleazy way and therefore have given all of sales a bad name. Sales aren't bad. Sales make the world go round. Right. Sales are just the exchange of energy. The exchange of money is an energy transformation. I always like to say that the transformation is in the transaction. When someone gets something for free, they're often not going to pay as much attention, because when we pay attention, yep. Right? And so it's natural that if you want someone to benefit from your coaching services or your financial services or your marketing or PR or design services, like giving it to them for free is actually doing them a disservice. Mm-hmm. It's also doing yourself a disservice, because at some point you're not going to be able to provide your services anymore if it becomes an expensive hobby. So, but to answer your question, like why does sales have such a bad name? I think when people get burned, they begin to generalize, well, everyone who sells is like that. And the truth is, you now have let's say you went to a car dealership or you went somewhere where they were pushy and salesy, so to speak. You have an opportunity to redefine what that means. You have an opportunity to redefine how you sell so that you can sell from your soul, so that you can sell in a way that lights you up and lights your buyer up.
Yeah. I love that, because I was just thinking, I'm rewatching Ted Lasso. And did you watch Ted Lasso?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I'm rewatching it because it's the perfect analogy of how really, really good writing sticks to the story. And if you anybody who's watched it and then they're rewatching it, you can see how they had one story and they were telling it all along the way. I say this because in one of the episodes, Ted doesn't want to talk to a therapist because he had one other therapist that just didn't work out for him. And his buddy says, remember when I was dating that dancer and and I said I was never going to date another ballet dancer ever. And it was one ballet dancer. She did not work out for you. That's the same with sales, right? Like just because you, like you said, had an icky experience, you get to redefine that. And also, even if you've been icky in your sales before, like if you've been, I've totally been that person that just nags and nags and nags because I'm thirsty. You can change that today. So what's one way, because you always give great tips. I've done classes with Jen before, and what's like the one thing people have to do you see, this is very generalized, to change that energy? How do you get that big sales energy from icky to okay, I'm comfortable?
Yeah. So first I just want to touch on something that you said, which was that even if you've done it in the past in a way that you haven't liked, you can change that. That is so true. I have a coach who had a big sales position at a digital business company. And he realized he hated how he was selling. Like he would go home and feel like crap. Like, oh, I pushed these people into buying this thing and they can barely afford it. And like this, and so eventually he's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't sell like this anymore. And he reformed. And now the ways he teaches, like, growing a business are so drastically different. And so I just like, there is hope. If you don't like how you've sold in the past, that's in the past, right? That was yesterday. That was an hour ago. That was 5 minutes before this video. You have an opportunity to change that. And so then the question becomes how? Well, first, you need to get into your own energy, because your energy is going to get transferred to your potential buyer. I like to call them probable purchasers because it frames it for me in a positive light. But your probable purchaser is going to feel your energy. It's not something you're going to show up and say, I have great energy, so buy from me. But think about the last like 5 people that you bought from. They were probably exuding amazing energy. Right. They probably had just this infectious, contagious, I want to have what they're having kind of energy. And that's what attracts us to them, especially if you're a personal brand business. And so get your energy right. That may mean doing qigong in the morning or dancing or meditation or something or yoga, something to like move the energy through your body. And if you think about a dog, I have 2 dogs, and they're so cute.
So cute.
I'm sure they'll make an appearance, or at least their barks will. They, when a dog has an experience that is not the best for them or makes them like nervous, the first thing they do is they shake it off. Their whole body, they like, do the shake off.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay. But as humans, when we have an experience, so someone says no to us, you get in a fight with your significant other, there's traffic on the way to the meeting. I mean, like it can be like the smallest little thing or the biggest thing. We don't take a second to say, hold on, let me shake that off. Let me shake. So that negative energy is sitting within our bodies. And when I was selling Cutco knives, best cutlery on the planet, I will admit, 2 decades later, I still feel that way. When I was selling Cutco knives, in between every single sales call, my boss would make me call him. And I was like, Dave, like, this is so excessive. Like, I don't want to call you just to tell you I didn't get the sale. Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, why are you making me call you? And, I just want to go to the next one and like make the sale.
Right.
He's like, if you go into the next one with the last one's energy, you won't make the sale.
Ooh.
So what he would
think about that. Yeah.
So what he would do was he would make me do something, physically something. It could be running around my car 3 times. It could be like doing jumping jacks. Okay. But he would it could be singing at the top of my lungs in the car alone. but which by the way, you don't want to be in the car if I'm singing. But it was something physical to literally like shake it off.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until a couple, like 10 years later, what he was having me do and how impactful it was. And so that's the very first thing. Like, no matter what's going on in your life, like take a minute before you have a sales conversation with someone to shake off all the things going on and ground yourself and reset yourself. It's like literally hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
And then once you have your energy right, now you can go impact others. And the very first thing, so like, okay, people are like, oh, well, that's so woo. Okay, I got my energy. But like, what do I really have to do, Jen? Well, you really have to get your energy right. Like, you can't just, I got my energy right and say it. Like, you have to feel it. But then the next thing I think about is, if I'm trying to sell someone something, how can they win? Because I'm not as focused.
Say that again. If I'm trying to sell something, how can the person who works with me win? Correct.
So if Arden, if I want to sell you coaching services,
right,
what I'm going to ask myself is, what does Arden really need? And how can I be a part of that solution?
Yep.
Okay, because all you care about, you don't care that I have 3 different bundles with 6 different prices and an upsell and a downsell. And you don't really care if it comes as a course or it comes as a membership or it's a coaching program. You don't, like, none of that really matters. What you care about is, in my case, I want to make more sales, right? I want to grow my business. I want to do it without working a billion hours a day. And so my job is to figure out, what does she need? And just like anyone who's watching, you have the same job. Your job is to figure out, what does your client need and how do you fill that role for them? How do you help them?
Right. And so this is very interesting because I see a lot of people who aren't salesy. I don't want to be sales. I don't want to be sales. Say, well, here's how they get around it. Well, I lead with service. So I lead with service. And I have had to say repeatedly, well, of course you lead with service, because you have to figure out what the other person is going to get out of it. But there's nothing wrong. What I really want everybody listening is, we've put this really weird stigma on sales. We put this really weird stigma on making money, or, oh my gosh, you can't, like, if you're a Christian following this, like, I can't store up my treasures in heaven, or all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, that has nothing to do with anything. Everything has to do with, and I do love that energy, because I can personally attest to, when things are not going well, right? Like, you guys know I am in PR, and a lot of mine is my relationship with the public and the people I work with. And when things are not going well, or life is lifing, my energy is down. So just like she says, I've practiced these things and I've gone, all right, for the next 30 minutes, I am only going to be positive, or I'm only going to, think about, I really like that person's outfit, or whatever it is, like, be positive. Another thing I do, it's just picking up you know what I do, Jen? I've told you this before, is picking up trash on the side of the road. Like, if I see trash, putting it, that is an energy transfer of, I am not above picking up someone else's trash and putting it in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
That's an energy, seriously, y'all, that's an energy shift for me of, listen, you're not above anything, your job, and you're not below anything. You're just
I forgot you told me you do that. I pick up trash here at the beach all the time. We get a lot of tourists and they just like throw stuff on the ground. And I always have dog bags with me. So I just like the dogs. And so I'm like, oh, I have a glove. And I just like pick up trash literally on a daily basis.
Well, it just makes me feel, it's my energy shift. It's like one thing I do to go, because I can feel very, very proud of myself. Like, oh my God, I'm killing it. And then I'm a Cancer. So the highs and lows of a Cancer are very real. And Enneagram 7, and I don't like to feel pain. So I have to, and with ADHD, I have to level set.
Are we on Facebook, by the way? Because I was going to share this. If I was just
we're not live. We're just recording.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm
like, that's what I was looking at. I'm like, where are we? I'm trying to share it.
Yes, we just record.
I love it.
I know. But I think there's this level of level setting because I'm really studying ADHD right now of level setting where you are instead of just, when we talk about energy shifts, you actually control that. And that's why I love following your stuff, Jen, because you really and truly, I can just watch you and go, oh, that quick tip. That's so helpful. So, okay, we've shifted our energy. Blah, 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 blah. What's the next thing?
Well, just remember this. Every time you show up for your audience, you're either selling or not selling.
Ooh.
Okay. Meaning that even if you're not trying to sell them, like you're just trying to give a life update.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like all down in the dumps, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But like communicate that to a friend or a family member. Okay. Like the entire Instagram world doesn't need to know when you're going through something. Afterwards, or when you're enough on the other side that you can talk about it from a non-victim voice, is totally fine. Like we want to know what's going on, right? Because we buy from people we know, like, and trust, and we want to know you better. Like we don't, and everything doesn't have to be like flowers and unicorns, but I have seen people really in the thick of it, like business coaches being like, I haven't had a client in 6 months. Well, is someone going to want to buy from you if you're like going on it and like, no, right? So that energy, like it's like overshare. So there's a difference.
You see my mouth still like,
yes,
says that.
No, that's like, no. And so there's a difference between sharing in an authentic way and overshare. And I will say there is a time and a place to communicate things to your friends or family and not the whole social media world.
That's okay. So let's lean into this a little bit more because one of the things I see, again, I work with people in public image all the time. I speak on public image. I talk about it. I'm like, guys, I am a publicist. I have to look the part all the time. Literally everything I'm wearing is a tax write-off because you are judging me. I have a new program that I'm kind of tweaking around with teaching people how to do video. Going into these like, just teaching you the value of video. And I'm playing around with the idea of going in tennis clothes, even though I don't play tennis clothes and one of my trucker hats and saying, I don't care that I look like this. I still have to show up. Because
I don't know, Arden, your tennis skirt from this weekend on Instagram was so cute.
Isn't it so cute?
That OG Lululemon?
Like, huh?
That OG Lululemon pleated skirt? Ah, I died.
Oh my God, that OG Lulu. I don't know. I think Aloe has it now, but that OG, I love that tennis skirt. And
I have one of those. It's a little small, but I have one of those. Not in orange. I think mine's in pink.
Oh, I would love the pink too. But that tennis skirt, like that was when Lulu really did good tennis stuff.
That's true.
We think we have to show up like this, right? Like I spoke to a group of women this morning, everything's branding. But what I'm seeing is me in a Lululemon tennis skirt is just as authentic. However, it may not fit the situation. So
right. You're not showing up in your Lululemon tennis outfit to speak to 5,000 people on a grand stage with mag machine, you know, all the like, no, right? Like, but when I did speak to a couple thousand people, hold on. Sorry, I'm sneezing. We say she's sneezing on the truth. When I did speak just recently in London to a couple thousand people, I had a nice dress on and sneakers, Golden Goose sneakers.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why was I the only woman there not wearing heels? Because I knew I was going to go up and down the stage. I knew I was going to walk the audience. And quite frankly, I didn't want to fall. I thought it would be more distracting to fall than to not wear heels. And authentically me, I haven't worn heels in 10 years unless like it's like someone's wedding and I have to. Like so like I would much prefer to be in tennis shoes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're nice tennis shoes.
They are
But
very
they're
nice tennis shoes. Yeah.
So I got so much. It was like the biggest conversation starter on the planet.
Because you were wearing sneakers?
Oh, you have no idea. Oh yeah, they're a little bit more proper in London than we are here.
That is true. I was
And
thinking,
so,
yeah.
but in a good way. Like people, I loved your tennis sneakers. Like I was getting stopped. I mean, they were leopard. They were very flashy.
Right. I have some like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my point is like, just when you're you and you own it, you know, I was like proud, like, yeah, I'm comfortable,
Right.
You know, like when you can own it and be proud, like you can show up as yourself. And that's the energy that attracts people to want to buy from you because they feel it's real. And when you go into that sales pitchy, like, buy from me, I'm the like, ooh, it's actually, I think of it like that boy in high school or elementary school that like really wanted the girl and he was so needy and like that desperate energy and would call all the time and would send little notes all the time. And the girl's like, oh, he likes me too much. I don't like him because he likes me too much, you know?
Yeah. Still get those. Like, dude, I have literally left every one of your unsolicited messages on read.
Right.
I don't want to be ugly. I don't want to be mean, but I've left it on read, which means I'm not interested.
Right.
And that's okay. Because if you left me on read, then I'm more interested. I'm like, oh, wait, you don't like me? So, okay. So I do think it's really interesting because social media is its own bizarre platform. So let me ask you this. Where do you think what are the best social media platforms? So most of my viewers are service providers of some way, shape, or form. They cut hair, are hairstylists, they are doing eyebrows, there's new authors or they are authors. Business books, fiction books, we've got some med spas watching, and sure, whoever follows me all over the interwebs. But what platforms are really and truly the best ones, do you think, to grow sales? What are the platforms that you think people should be hanging out on?
Yeah, so it's really specific to your audience.
Yep.
If you're in beauty and image, like photographs, before and after pictures, health, I felt this way and now I feel that way, right? Like that's all really plays well on Instagram and Pinterest too, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Like, Pinterest is very highly searched, especially among women.
Yeah.
And so I would have a pin strategy in place because that's going to create long-term searchability where stuff you pin today will continue to be found in 5 years from now.
Okay. So pause right there. Guys, go back. By the time this comes out, you've already seen the Pinterest one I did with Stephanie Reel about how to use Pinterest specifically. And then she gave you guys like a discount to get her course too. So
Pin Better course. Stephanie Reel's course is amazing. So make sure you get that.
Yeah.
For sure. Like 100% her course is hands down the best. I love that you interviewed her. That's awesome. So Pinterest is going to help you continue to be found. I am working right now personally for my business as a business and sales coach on Instagram and TikTok. Okay. Because Instagram is good to create authentic relationships where people are going to buy. TikTok is going to help me grow my Instagram so that more people are finding me. Okay. Because it's easier to grow and be found on TikTok than it is on Instagram.
Yep.
So one is going to feed the other. Now, business coach or author might consider posting on LinkedIn, right? So it really depends on your strategy and who your audience is. But like, if I'm a hairstylist, I'm not considering LinkedIn as my growth mobile because think about where you buy, right? Like I don't go to LinkedIn to find my hairstylist. Okay. But if someone tags their hair, now I love my hairstylist. So if she's watching this, her name is Jen. I'm never leaving. Don't worry. But if someone tagged their hairstylist and they had like the best haircut and they had brunette hair in the South, like I do. Okay. Cause this is a really tough thing. Everyone wants to turn me blonde.
Yeah, they do.
Blonde. Okay. then I might go click on their profile to see more about them.
Yeah.
Right. And that might, but I'm not doing that on LinkedIn.
Nope.
Right.
So that is true. I'm like playing with my hair now because I do the same thing. People are like, your blonde is perfect, because blondes are hard too. Mine's really bright right now because it's summer, but finding the good blonde people, I have built up my person's business so much simply because I'm a good blonde and she doesn't charge in Charlotte astronomical prices.
Which is hard to find.
It's very hard to find.
Yeah. And so when you post on Instagram and you're like, just got my hair done with whoever, I don't know your hairstylist name.
Janie.
Like, what is it?
Her name's Janie.
Janie, like people are going to click on your tag and see who Janie is, right? Yep. And they might contact her. And so that what that means is when they're going to Janie's profile, Janie must be ready to sell.
Yep.
What does that mean? Her look, like I'm sure you teach, needs to be branded, needs to be something other people are going to want to buy. It needs to be easy to click to either book a call, book a consult, talk. Like there needs to be an easy path to the first step of your process. So like, for example, for me, I have a membership. Okay. It's right there. Right now, I don't know when this is airing, but like right now, I just have one link because what do I want you to do? I want you to join my membership, which is not a lot of money. And then from there, you'll learn about all these other ways that I can help you.
Yeah.
Right. Or there's freebies that I offer. Like I have a quiz. Okay. And it'll have launched by the time this airs. So if you want to go find out what your sales superpower is, okay, you can click and find your sales superpower and learn about how you can harness the really great parts of your sales superpower and work on the parts that may be holding you back from making more sales.
I love that. So here's one thing that I'm just going to comment on Jen. Jen always, this is how she always is. She always leads with positivity. She speaks into every room and like she walks in and she just honestly, this energy is not fake and it's no. And for some of you watching and y'all see me too, my energy is not fake. It's hard when you see people like the two of us because we wake up ready to go. Even when we're not, like we've talked offline about some things that are hard for us and we're dealing with. But what do you say to people? Because you coach people on this much more than I do. Because I just say, do this, do this, do this. Like, what's your brand story? How are you doing it? But the people that don't wake up like us, that don't wake up going, you know what? I am thankful for another day. I am thankful we both have like spirituality in our essence. Like we just do. And we have the ability, Jen, and I think we're very strong in this, even when life is not ideal. Like a lot of people would go, that's not ideal. We can go, you know what? We're going to figure out how to sit in space a little bit and then move on. What if somebody doesn't have what we have? How do you help them?
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, I am not perfect. Like there are days I wake up and I am pissed off, right? And I wake up early, like really early. So by 6 a.m., if I haven't shaken it, okay, because I wake up like 4:30-ish. So by 6 a.m., if I haven't shaken it, like I know, I kind of look at myself and say, okay, we got to change this. Because if I go through the rest of the day being pissed off, nothing's going to go my way. Right? It's like when someone says they have a cloud hanging over them. No, you don't have a cloud hanging over you. That's being a victim. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you it straight. Okay. That is victim mentality. You are bringing a cloud with you wherever you go. And there is a difference. Okay. Take ownership versus, and that is really hard. It's a really hard pill to swallow. And it doesn't feel good when someone tells you the truth that hurts. But if no one points out that you're bringing that cloud with you, and everyone has that friend who brings the cloud with them everywhere they go. And if you're that person bringing the cloud with you, freaking say, cloud, I see you. Thank you. Okay. Because it's clearly keeping you safe in some way. Okay. And that's why we hang on to those things. And now take it and say, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to put you aside. And here's how I'm going to move forward without you, cloud. And so what I do is a lot of story work. And I'm trained in this certification method now where it's really cool, and it's called the Enlifted method. And so what I do is I help you uncover the stories that you're telling yourself in your head. And typically if we have a story, it's on repeat over and over and over, playing subconsciously in the back of our head. And so when something doesn't go your way, it becomes like proof in your head, and you're like, oh yeah, that's because I never get, like, I have a story that when I go shopping or I go to like a crowded parking lot, that I always get a spot in front. It is the stupidest story, okay? But I have made up this story. And Christmas, the day before Christmas, when it's like everyone is shopping at the South Park Plaza Mall, what happened? I got a spot right in, so I'm pulling up and someone's pulling out. Okay. And people waited like an hour to find parking. No. So, I had like, so I have conditioned myself to figure out ways to like hack life by creating better stories. But I took this.
I'm gonna pause right there. Y'all, she conditioned herself. This doesn't just happen. Okay, that's my story now. You've been telling yourself one story. You know, I have people, you know, you've got family ties or whatever that are like, well, you know, when one thing goes wrong, that's just how life goes sometimes. And I go, nope, I no longer accept that. Just because I spilled the milk this morning doesn't mean the whole day's ruined. Nope.
No.
You have to condition yourself to believe that. It is work. It is work to do this. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, yes. And once at some point it just clicks, right?
Yeah,
which is really cool. And so with the story method, it's 4 parts. I have you write down the story. Most people have never written down the story inside your head. So if you've never written down the story, we journal to ourselves, but we don't write down the story with the details and the drama and the triggers and the emotions.
Okay.
And so I'm going to challenge you. Like, if there is a story you have on repeat and you can catch it, title it like the name of a book or a movie, write it down, and then read it out loud. And you're probably going to read it too quickly the first time. This is why you work with a coach to do this. But I set up appointments where we just work on one story sometimes for 45 minutes or an hour. And they're reading it, then they're hearing it, and then they're seeing different perspectives. And then I'm having them slow down and read it with breath, because once you can breathe and put breath in between specific parts of the story, now you can begin to see different sides and we tweak words, because sometimes people say, he did this to me, and what they mean is, I did it to me. Right. Or they project things, or she did this to me, and they mean like not always, but you know, there's little words you can change that will help change the translation of the sentence and the actual story forever. So imagine, like, we hold on to money stories that our parents or guardians or whoever told us when we were younger without even realizing, right? So if you're like, well, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, hello, that's a story.
Well, right? And you and I talked about this during 2020, especially, like, clearly it does, because during 2020, they just kept printing money and sending it out.
They just kept printing money.
that really is when I changed my whole perspective. Or I think when I went to Italy and I had to get like money translate, and I was like, it was so pretty. It was the first time I'd like had a euro, and I went, this is all fake. Like, I have assigned so much emphasis to something that is just like fake. Now, I do not say this to say just go spend money like a fool, because it will catch up with you and then you'll be in debt and all that kind of stuff. But also, we have proof that you can just print money. Like, you can just letting go of that. And a couple of weeks ago, I talked to someone who I told you this, an Epstein survivor. And when I talked to Jess, we were really talking about our parents. I'm a Gen Xer, how our parents were raised during the Vietnam War, or that's when they were really pivotal, right? And during the Vietnam War, no one came home to talk about trauma. You just came home. And so you have these people now who are You got to be tough. You got like these adults who were making decisions in the world. Money doesn't grow on trees. Just toughen up. Don't talk about it. Why is and we're all stuck. And I love that you're giving permission to go, wait, that is a story. Or she made me feel so guilty. That's a big one I hear. I just feel so guilty for taking care of who told you that? That's a question I'll ask myself. Who told you that? Right.
Right. So a big story I hear a lot of women entrepreneurs say is they have to work hard to earn money. And if they don't work hard, it's like whatever they have earned doesn't count. So if the money yes, because they watch someone. So like, for example, I watched my dad, both my parents really work very hard, like very, very hard my whole life. My dad would leave at 5 o'clock in the morning. He would come home at 6 or 7, eat dinner, fall asleep, and then do it again the next day. And he worked 7 days a week and he was the business owner. So he never took a day off, like ever. And my mom would take a day off to get errands done and house stuff. But
she was still working. She wasn't just sitting around watching a movie or something.
Right. She wasn't just like crocheting or doing something fun. She was doing stuff. So I had this notion that in order to make a lot of money, I needed to be working all the time. And so I did that in my career. I did that when I set up my business. I got adrenal fatigue. I made myself, quite honestly, very sick to the point where a couple of years ago, many people don't know this, but I only had enough energy to work for about an hour a day. And the rest of the day I was sleeping because I was so sick.
Yeah.
And so, as women entrepreneurs, well, men too, but as women entrepreneurs, we have a lot of times extra responsibilities if you have kids or you're taking care of the household or, there's a lot of things that tend to fall on women that men don't assume responsibility for.
Right.
And so now we're running a business and running a household. And that's a lot. I love Jeffrey, my husband, but I went away for a week. I went to visit my parents and he watched the dogs. And now the dogs, they're my responsibility. I walk them, I do all the things, right?
Yeah.
He was like, Jen, this is like a full-time job. And I'm like, what? We've had them for 6 years. You're just saying that right now? What?
Men. Everything is
it was so funny to me, right?
Well, it's also so funny. We're just built differently. We're so used to, as women, we just have to do all the things. We either want to do all the things, we have to do all the, or we're very type A particular. So when someone comes into our lives, they're like, wait, why can't I just let the dog out? My mom, they have a new dog, Prancer, Prancer is partly mine too, new puppy. Yeah. My dad's going to sit outside and play on his phone and Prancer's going to run outside. My mom is not going to sit out there. She's got stuff that she's got to do. And she was like, I don't understand how your dad can just sit outside, whereas my mom cannot sit outside. And I'm like, I don't understand why you can't just sit outside, but it's just how we're built. We are wired.
Right.
We're just wired that way. And it's just, there's no judgment on it. It's just, I am not wired to sit out there. I'm just not.
But I guess the point is so if you think about the stories you tell yourself, right? I used to think, well, the harder I work, the more money I'm going to make. And that's all that matters. And then you look around and you're like, are there any counter examples? Are there any people who have balance in their life and still also make a lot of money? Or are they all killing themselves to earn a buck? And I was like, wait, there's a lot of people that I know that, also have time off and also do have hobbies and enjoy their life. People would ask me what I do outside of work. And I'd be like, what? There's an outside of what? Who, what? I had no life outside of work.
This is really interesting. When I was first starting out in my career, I was a couple years in, but I'd just gotten my first director job and I was in this mentorship program. And I had this mentor, we met twice, but she was like, we're not going to meet that much. I'm really busy. She was running a TV station and I'm really busy. She was like, but this book is going to change your life. I don't know why she'd signed up unless she was supposed to. And in the book, the only thing I remember reading in this, you'll love it, is women always feel like when we're at the work and we're in the same job, I've got to come in early and I've got to stay late because that shows I'm committed. Whereas the man comes in at 9:05 and he leaves at 4:55. The man consistently at that time would get the raise because it looked like he was functioning. He could get his job done fast. And the woman, she was doing twice as much work, but it looked like it was taking her forever to get it done. And again, I think next millennials are changing that, but I do think that goes into everything. It goes into your energy. It goes into the identifying your ideal client. I'll be honest, my ideal client knows that I work between 9 and 5. You don't text me in the middle of the night. And if you do not expect me to answer because I'm not going to. And
Right.
it's understanding boundaries, right? And we have to set those up.
Right.
Yeah.
What it is our duty to create the boundaries. So like when you join my mastermind, I will tell you, you can this is your container. You're going to have a container in Voxer where you can communicate with me whenever you want. I will respond to you within 48 hours.
Yep.
Most of the time I respond within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But if my energy is off, if I'm really busy, if I'm traveling, if for some reason I want that buffer, and I don't respond on weekends.
Yeah.
However, I usually respond on weekends, but I set because I like to, but I set the expectation that I don't have to. And I never feel like I have to. I only do it because I want to.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference. And it's not, it feels heavy when you have to do it. It feels light and fun when I can be sitting on the beach and like going through Voxer and just responding to everybody.
Right. Because here's the thing, because the people that come into our programs and whatever, generally we love them. And we're like, oh my gosh. Every time I talk about someone, I'm like, this is like, I have somebody who's like changing public health in South Carolina, in Charleston. Like she's just getting it going on, but like, what does public health look like in Charleston? And I'm like, oh, I am so excited to talk about this, or I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer you, but I don't want it to be. And that's where each of you watching this, just because you set the expectation, that's part of your sales. That's part of the energy you're putting out there because you get to, and people actually love boundaries. I just want you to tell me, my assistant that I work with, tell me how to work with you and I will work with you. Do you want me to send you, do you need a Google file? Do you need an everyday report? Like at first she was like sending me a daily report and I was like, I appreciate this. I also could care less. Like I'm not reading these. They are getting deleted. They are taking up space. You could work 2 hours. You could work 12. I don't know what you're working. I just know I pay you on time, the best of my ability. And we love expectation. So we're getting really close. Oh my God, you and I could talk forever. So
we could talk forever.
We could. So when we're talking about energy, I want you guys who are listening to this to be absorbing our energy too. We put it out there because we really love it. What are really cool ways for people to work with you? Because y'all, I'm telling you, working with Jen, I think we worked together like 2 years ago. I still apply those lessons.
Oh,
I do, because again, when I pay for stuff, I'm paying for it. For me at the time, even now, it was a big chunk of change. I was like, I'm going to figure this out.
When you pay attention. It's that simple. Same for your clients. Yeah. I would say go to jengitomer.com/make-more-money. Okay. That is the membership. In that membership, you get daily and monthly action plans to make more money, plus a call with me. Like this month, I have Honore Quarter coming on tomorrow, and she's written over 50 books, and she's like just a total powerhouse. And she's talking about business feng shui. So it's a combination of like woo strategy and like real, like simple, easy to implement sales strategy, right? And then there's a coaching call. So there's so much. It's $37 a month. It's like, to me, it's like, how do you not enroll in this? I've tried to make it so accessible for people. So jengitomer.com/make-more-money. And then if you want to take the quiz and find out your sales superpower, go to jengitomer.com/quiz.
Okay. And I'll put that in the show notes too, guys.
Awesome.
So, and then y'all know how to find me, definitapublicity.com. And Jen speaks, I speak. We would love to come and teach your folks whatever they need.
We've done a
And
dual presentation before too. That would be so
yeah.
fun to bring back.
Oh, the lemonade stand.
Yes.
Here's the thing. 2020 was tough, but man, we got creative.
Yeah, we did. That was fun. That was fun.
Okay, let's do that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank
you so much, Arden. This was so fun.
So good to see you. Okay.
You too.
Bye, y'all. And like and share this. People need it. Share it. It's not about like, I love that you follow me, but I have this because I know a lot of cool people. I want more people to have access to the awesome people I have access to. So share it with anybody that needs it. Thanks. Bye, guys.